Okay, so with thanks to EA for letting me play the game and capture footage, I've got some spicy early access for you guys.
EA Sports in the game.
Oh my god, what a start! Ah, absolute dive bombs, what can I say? Whoa! Alright, I think the first thing I'm going to show you is the menu, and as you can see, they've redesigned it. It looks a lot cleaner than it did last year. And let me quickly show you some of the new settings that you've got on board the game. So as you can see now, ray tracing is available. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make another video, I think, where it's going to show you all the different settings and go through those. But even things like crowd, you can change that. The reflections, and there's just a lot more settings in this game than there were last year. That's just the graphics side. The audio too, just a little bit more controllable, a little more things that you can control to kind of help you adjust and get the right settings for you. I think the controls and feedback are quite similar to what they were last year. Actually, they're not too different. But go into my wheel settings. There we go. You can see that that is pretty much the same. You've also got this Tobii eye tracker, so if you've got a Tobii eye tracker, you can switch that on. I know that there are a few more people that are starting to use that. And yeah, just the familiar settings that you already know and love. And a few additionals to help people adjust their audio and the graphic settings to meet their needs a little bit better. Okay, so the first thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of career mode. So this isn't the full game, and I don't have access to the full game just yet, but at least this way you can get to see all the different settings that you can configure for a career mode. So nothing changed here. You can create all the assists you can. I'm going to keep 2D Lane at the moment because I don't know the tracks too well. They have changed, as of course we know that they will have done. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start career mode, and I'm going to show you what the new career mode is about. And I think as we go along, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what the new game has in store for us, so you get to get an insight to see what the new story modes, the new career modes, and the new co-op championships are going to look like. Career mode. What you'll notice is the assists haven't changed, but in career settings there is a few more options in comparison to what there were last year. So as you can see, the track acclaim rate, the acclaim rate of players and AI, as well as the resources and cash, can all be reduced from default to increased or reduced. And what that does is it allows for the AI to actually be a little bit either easier or more difficult to match their acclaim and how they develop the cars in game. So if you can breeze through career mode, or if you've struggled, it gives you a little bit more flexibility on how you or the AI tackle development of resources and the acclaim and gaining cash for when you're playing career mode. As well as that, you can actually turn off meeting the press as well. So what that does is, basically, if you don't want to talk to Claire, you don't have to talk to Claire. As well as R&D management, you can have your team deal with it, or you can deal with it depending on how you want to play career mode. Additionally, you can you can turn on or increase the fault frequency that you have as you're driving around, and the types of faults as well. So you have low, standard, and high there. But I don't know if they're going to change that actually. For me, you can change this from full, short, and what was it? I think it was full, short, and mini practice shout sessions, as well as the full, short, and one-shot qualification settings. The session lengths can be anything up to 4 lengths. If you want to do a full practice session, a full qualifying session, and a full season, then you are able to do that. Under the rules and flags as well, you can turn the rules on to corner cutting only, as well as that you can put onto regular and straight, and turn pack firming on and off, as well as safety cars and formation laps can be turned on and off during, but at the moment I haven't got access to those. And in regards to weather options, you can change it from approximate or perfect. Perfect means that the weather forecast will be 100% accurate when you read it, and approximate means that there's going to be some degree of uncertainty into the forecast of the weather, meaning that you don't actually know what's going to happen. It's ever changing, which is arguably a little bit more fun for me. And lastly, the simulation settings, you can change the simulation difficulty all the way up to 110 AI, as the same as it was last year. I'm going to be comfortable and play on 100, because I'm still getting, in fact no, 95, because I'm still getting used to the game. In terms of how the surface is going to be during the races, you can change that from realistic or simplified. Simplified just making it easy to drive over, so you can get back on the track more easily if you run off, or you can attack the curbs a little bit easier as well. Recovery mode, you have flashbacks, you can turn them on and off, unlimited or high, or low, so I think you get up to like 10 flashback, or infinite, or 10 or 5, I can't remember exactly what the numbers are. And car damage all the way up to simulation damage. Damage rate basically is how quickly a car suffers as a result of collision, so they can deteriorate over a length of time, I believe it is, and that was kind of similar to the last game as well. And fuel mode basically is how much effect the car has when it's running on low fuel mode. So if you're on low fuel mode when you're at top speed, your top speed just reduces significantly in comparison, and if it's an easy, then it's not as drastic. And then it's just a simple race starts, collision zone, and surface and temperatures of the track, just as we all know and love from the old games. Nothing's changed there really. Okay, so once you've configured all your settings, let's just start and
First, let's create your driver.
create our driver. All right, so we haven't got many options at the moment because we're still in the early access of the game, so we're not going to be able to do too much about that, but let's just create a Dirk over here. Fantastic. Okay, so once you've created your driver, you can choose his audio name, and of course we're gonna
The Black Mamba.
Yep, okay, and then we can go into driver number, and the driver number, I always like to choose the day of my birth, because, you know, 20, why not? And then, that's it for now. I'm sure that's going to change as we go straight into the game, but for now, that is the options that we have, but that will change,
But not least, we need to decide which team to sign with. Choose carefully, as once you reach F1, the team you drive for will expect you to deliver appropriate results.
And then we get to choose the car that or the team that we want to drive from. Of course, Red Bull being the top team. And then we have to choose our team. And I really like this interface that we have in choosing the team. It's really nice and it looks slick. I don't know why. I just really like how it's laid out. Obviously, I'm a McLaren fan, so I'm going to choose McLaren. And of course, go on there.
Great. That's everything we need. You can go back and edit anything we've done so far, and we'll come back here at the start of each season.
Goes Lando.
Ready to go. Hit advance to head to the team HQ.
I'm ready to go, my guy.
Push to the top of Formula 1.
Thank you. And this is the career mode menu. Nothing's really changed except for it's just a little bit cleaner. As I said, they've just kind of brushed it up, and the way that they conduct the R&D, the facilities in the R&D now. I really like the new format of career mode in terms of like it's just been cleaned up a little bit, and like even things like the R&D, it's a new card model, and the way that they have the graphics on the cars just looks so much nicer. It feels like I'm actually taking a greater effect into my decision making by the way that I'm picking now, rather than the skills tree that we had last time. I'm a big fan of this actually. Everything else, though, is pretty much the same. They haven't changed too much, you know, you're still familiar with it. They've just brushed it up, and they've just made it look a little bit cleaner and easier to use than they did last year, and hopefully that's going to go a long way.
Hello. I see you found the data center. My name is Pierre. I'm your man for all issues of R&D, so get used to hearing a lot from me. Your workstation should be all set up and good to go. But if you run into any issues, be sure to give me a shout.
So once you get into the race session, it's pretty much the same actually. There's not too much difference in what you're looking out for. It's still the progress histories. You've got the R&D progress and the performance, so you can see what you want to upgrade in the menus. That's not changed too much. So I guess it's time for me to get my first practice running in Bahrain, and let you guys finally see some game footage.
Hello folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for this, the inaugural round of the 2021 Formula One World Championship. And I've got to say, it feels great to be back. As is tradition, there is something of an air of a first day back at school on arrival here. But it's more than that. It's a breath of fresh air. It's an element of normality in what has at times felt to be something of an abnormal world. Now, we were supposed to have a raft of new regulations this season, but as we know, they've been held back. Which does give all of these teams the opportunity to have a second bite at the cherry, one final chance to show what they can do in this era of Formula One. But the responsibility for results, as always, falls on the drivers. But with the cars at their disposal this year being very similar to the cars they had at their disposal last year, succeed, and they of course will put it all on themselves as a display of their innate skills and abilities. But the knife cuts both ways, because if they fail to succeed, there's absolutely nowhere for them to hide. The other question though remains as to which of these teams has been able to do the incredible, the impossible perhaps, with these regulations and pull something out of the hat over the winter that gives them the march on their rivals. As always, we can't wait for this season to begin, but for now, from us, that's your luck.
And once we get into the garage, it is pretty much the same as we all know it as well. I mean, I don't need to see the tutorial. I know the game well enough. The practice session's a lot slicker. It's nicer. With the card system, once again, you can pick the resources that you want to develop. You can also do a mini practice session if you really want to do so. That way you can pretty much pick a lot easier than it is last season, where you have to do the full sessions, to be fair. Right, okay, so I'm gonna go out in mediums. I'm gonna pick my car setup, and yeah, I think we're good to go. It's gonna be a nice sunny day. Let's go.
Mechanics, please stand clear. We're ready to go.
All right, I think it's time to take you through a hot lap of Bahrain, and initially it doesn't look too different, but what you find is it actually feels, and as you drive around, it looks so much nicer, like it's been brushed up somehow. And it just, like, I just enjoy driving around this track at the moment. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's because I'm familiar to it or something, but it just feels like there's a different element to it, and there's more around visually than the walls in the last game. And you can see that I'm fighting the car a little bit more. Maybe it's because I haven't got the setup quite right yet, but we'll work towards that. But let me just give you some ASMR from the engine as well. Listen to the engine. You can really, like, hear it kicking in. And the MFD has been changed as well. It's now this nice blue, more compact version of it from last year, and it's more centered as well. Makes it a lot easier for me to, like, keep an eye out on information as well, to be fair. I know people used to change it anyway. Still customizable in the OSD though.